Alright, welcome to another video on the Boulevard Paper Fight YouTube channel. My name is Blake if you don't know me, and let's get into a deep dive video. So I found the next deck that I wanted to play, and it is, or dive into. It is the Sultan of Dwarfstock. Some of you saw this on stream last week. I have already played a couple games with it, but unfortunately the original unboxing video I did for this deck, I had some technical difficulties and it did not record. So I'm going to kind of go over that process of what I would do for an unboxing, breaking down the deck stats, and then kind of talk a little bit about the first impressions and the struggles, because there are struggles with this deck, which is fantastic. So actually, before I go into this, I just want to thank everyone who's been supporting the channel and always commenting. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, this week there's going to be no Would You Rather video. There is going to be one next week, 100%. I want to actually focus the stream tomorrow on spending maybe 3 games doing this, because I would like to actually get the whole reps done for this deep dive deck this week. So you're going to see the start of the week is going to be this deep dive, and then the end of the week will be the results of the deep dive. So yeah, shout out to everyone who tunes into the streams and comments on these videos. I really appreciate it. Got to give a special shout out to Andrew Kong. My guy stayed up until 5 in the morning in the UK watching the stream last week and jamming a game against me, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. So without further ado, let's get into this. So this deck has a, well, I guess maybe this is not the best way to do this, because you guys kind of know this deck a little bit if you've seen. So we're just going to go into everything. I'm not going to reveal. So this deck for creature count, or we'll do Raw Ember first, I think. I can't remember how I line things up. Alright, so we got creature count. Oh, the name of the deck. Sorry, I gotta start with that. It's called the Sultan of Dwarfstock. There it is, the Sultan of Dwarfstock. And in case these giant icons here didn't give it away, it is a Dis Sanctum and Saurian house. So let's start off with the Raw Ember. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Raw Ember. And for creature count, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, that's right. Those 3 to close it out. So a good amount of creatures. And now let's take a look at the Ember Control. Ember Control? Yes. So we got 1, 2, 3 because of the capture, 4 because of the capture, 5 because of the capture, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because of the capture, 11, and 12. This one's really interesting. This card, I've noticed, it kind of shuts down your opponent from wanting to do certain things because of the fear of losing Ember. So it's kind of neat when you get a board you want to stick. So I like Charbitis. And then for the board control, we've got, I don't know if I would count Bonesaw. We're not going to count Bonesaw. So we're going to say this one. So we got 1, because the mass damage is great. 2, 3, 4. I don't know if I would count this one. So we'll just get the one. 5. I like Ardent Hero because of the fact that it takes no damage and it's dealing 4 when it fights. When you're hitting up 5 or more, or that, so I'm going to count this as 6. 7 because stunning is great. 8, although this card with the creature power in this deck sometimes is a whiff. 9, 10, 11, 11, you can maybe say 12 because there's 2 damage pips, but I'm not going to. So there's 11 for that. Actually, no, we'll count this as 12 because this puts in work. So we're going to go with 12 and count the reapability of Cilia. And then next we're going to go with the cycle, right? Sorry, I didn't get my little cheat sheet with me today. My apologies. Okay, so yeah. Now we're going to go with the ability to do drawing and cycling. So we have got 1, 2, 3, I'll count this, 4, so there's 4 there, excuse me, and for disruption, we have, oh, whoops, almost missed the first 2, so we're going to count this, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, I almost want to count these, so there's 4, but I kind of want to almost put it at 6 because even though these do other things, this actually does some disruption to your opponent. These 2 create that feeling of like your opponent's not quite sure how they should be proceeding. Yeah, like it makes them have to second guess. So yeah, let's count these. Alright, and from there that leaves us with kind of looking at the ember situation, which is 18 minus the raw ember plus 7, and then we minus the cards that are going to contribute to that. So I think it was 9 raw ember. I don't have the icons on screen while I'm doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 9 minus 18 puts us at 9, plus 7 puts us at 16, and then we go 15, 14, 13, I'm wondering if these count because of really good board to fight and if I can move them from my creatures to theirs. I'm going to go with a yes. So that's 14. I mean, I'm getting the count wrong here. 16. Sorry, everyone. 15. 14. There we go. Back on track. 13, 12, 11. 10 because you exalt an enemy creature. So it's going to go 10 there. So it's the 10 is the amount of reaps you will need to do in order to get there in the end. And this is assuming you're cycling through your entire deck. So that's the key thing. I don't know if that's been expressly said by me in the previous videos, but this Ember generation number kind of is you need to reap 10 times, and that's if you've gone through your whole deck, you should be able to get 3 keys worth of Ember, provided the fact that you've gone through your entire deck. So keep that in mind. Now let's start looking at the deck as a whole, and what are some cool things in here. Obviously Dark Minion destroying itself allows having that, triggers that, makes Bonesaw come in ready, and then that also leads to being able to have a Cleansing Wave the following turn by putting 1 on all your opponent's creatures. Being able to use friendly creatures here because the disc, the truth is, has not a ton of creatures. There is just the 4 creatures, sorry. So you're not using this house to really get yourself going. It's more you're going to be using it in between, especially for the disruption factor. So the fact that you could get Bonesaw in right away and use it is really handy with the Dark Minion because you're probably not calling discs a heck of a lot. Although the Dominator Bauble, you may want to get that early, potentially, to keep it going. Grim Reminder, you definitely want as a late game. In this deck, you're 100% using it on Sanctum or Saurian. In the early stages, I started calling it for Saurian because I just love the Rex, the Carbitus, and Cilia. And I just wanted to recur those, plus there's 8 creatures there. So that was my first thoughts, but as I've been playing more, I've noticed that I have not been winning doing that strategy. So now I've pivoted one game, trying it with Sanctum, and I had better results. So now we're going to keep testing the best use of Grim Reminder moving forward. Obviously, in here you have some great protection with Champion Anaphil, Taunting, Ardent Hero, Taunting for different things. You can obviously house cheat with the Seeker of Truth, and I'm thinking you're choosing Saurian a lot of the time there. Great removal stuff in here. I mean, you even have Mighty Lance into a Cleansing Wave, because that's still a good amount, but you may want to use it for destroying actual creatures. When we move over to here, the Council Primuses, I think, might be quite clutch, especially with a Citizen Strix, because if you're exalting every time you're stealing, you may want to get that off and not create this 3-powered Pinata over time. Octavia is a little bit more sturdy, so you don't have to worry as much. Curse of Vanity, again, Council Primuses are helping. Defense Initiative, I think this card is super bonkers in this deck and very helpful with a lot of the things. Spoils Battle is going to definitely go off because there is going to be Ember on a lot of the creatures. The Egg, now the Egg is very interesting because, I mean, it's a way of cycling through your deck, but you got to be careful. At the same time, though, if you have Grim Reminder on deck, this can be really good because you don't care if stuff's going there, you can get it back. This card, I've yet to see it do anything. I never get it in the right order. Yeah, so it just doesn't work, but if I can get this to pop with the Cleansing Wave, it's going to be really great. And then obviously we have the Saurius Rex, which is great for getting any of the cards in the Saurian house that are handy. And of course, the chase cards of the set to be displayed like so. Together are fantastic. These cards put in work. They're instant targets. They draw the attention of your opponent. They feel they must deal with them, or they just start sacrificing creatures to get Ember. So they just present such a fantastic threat on the board that it must be dealt with. So that is part of the reason why I am constantly going Saurian, because of these 3 for the most part. And there's 8 creatures in Saurian. That's the reason I went Grim Reminder. Only problem is there's not a lot of Ember control in Saurian. So bringing back these creatures is not helping that. There's only Strix and Octavia, and you need them on the board right away. You need them on the board and then use them the next turn. So that's technically, if you think about it, Grim Reminder in your archive, call Saurian, play the creatures, and then next turn you're utilizing them. So that's just not as efficient as you would like. Obviously, Gateway to Dis is an insurance policy, along with the Spirit's Way. So a lot of ways to keep you in the game that way. So that's this deck. This is where we're going to go. My thoughts on this is this deck should be really good, but I have to figure it out. I have a losing record right now, which honestly is my favorite part about a deep dive, because that means I don't think I figured out the deck yet. I still got to keep trucking away. Need to try different approaches, different angles, and see when things start clicking. For me, the 10-game mark, when you get to that point, things should start humming. You should really have a good idea of how the deck wants to play. So I'm excited to keep going with that. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Check out some of the other videos. If you have not been keeping up with the Would You Rathers, they're definitely fantastic. Give me an idea for decks. I may actually have one from a previous Would You Rather is going to be the next deck deep dive, because we had a saucy one the other week. So, thank you everyone. As always, may your M never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.